I hear the train a-coming. It's rolling around the bend.
Hey, what's up guys? Daz aka Welsh Patriots, and it's crazy to think that it's been 20 years since the anniversary of the 7/7 attacks. That's the joys of living next to a train station. Yeah, it is crazy to think that it's 20 years since that awful, evil, abhorrent attack by Muslim extremists and jihadists. 20 years, Jesus. Mental.
Eerie footage of the devastation wrought by the 2005 London bombings has been shown in public for the first time. The inquest into the deaths of 52 people was shown video of underground trains and a bus, all blown apart by suicide bombers. ABC correspondent Philip Williams.
These pictures of the wreckage have just been released at the inquest 5 years after the bombs devastated 3 trains and a bus. 52 innocent lives were taken, many more injured, some left with horrific and permanent injuries. There were stories of heroism and an emergency response confused by poor communications and misinformation. At Aldgate Station, the driver heard pleas for help from passengers but couldn't raise the alarm. When help did arrive, everyone was ordered to evacuate because of fears of a second bomb. That was ignored. They continued to help as many of the injured as possible. At King's Cross, 26 commuters were killed. This is the carriage next to the one where the bomb exploded. Pictures of that scene were judged to be too harrowing to release. And here at Edgware Road, it was revealed the first ambulance arrived 24 minutes after the bomb ripped through a carriage. They'd been given the wrong address. Above ground, the aftermath of the attack on the number 30 bus at Tavistock Square revealed the terrible force of the explosion. The questions, as yet unanswered, could more lives have been saved if the response had not been delayed and confused? Philip Williams, ABC News, London.
But what struck me as perverse and sick and fucking twisted was when I watched Starmer and Khan lay Reeves at some sort of memorial from. Other people got caught up in that awful tragedy. The nerve of these people, the same 2 people that set the UK back 20 to, I'd say, even like 100 years. They've got the nerve and the audacity to pretend they give a fuck and to pretend that they care when we all know that they don't. It's a fucking joke, honestly. It is sick. And the joke's on us, the British public. I mean, how long is it going to take for Starmer to throw his like resignation letter in? Because it should have happened a long time ago in my eyes. But yeah, 20 years, guys. And how quick was that forgotten about? How like quick was that like swept under the carpet when it happened? I remember as if it was like yesterday, same as the Ariana Grande concert and stuff. Swept. None of the leaders stepped forward and condemned it. So like Charlie Veitch said the other day, is the UK gone? Is gone beyond? Is it unrepairable, and is it too late now for the UK to come back? I'm probably going to have to say, yeah, it is. From what I've seen so far. There needs to be more Tommy Robinsons to step forward, but I don't think it will ever will. Seriously. The UK is doomed as we know it. But yeah, 20 years ago, guys. Mental. Where was you 20 years ago? Put in the comment section below, where was you and what was you doing at the time that the tragic, atrocious, evil act of terror rained down on London? Where were you? I can vividly remember where I was when I heard it and seen it and saw all the the footage and stuff on the news. Madness. And the mad thing is, we never heard any stuff happening before that. Why then, not at that time, did it happen? Oh, it doesn't beg thinking about. And what have we learned from it? Well, you tell you what we have learned from it is the fact that you can't trust the government. You can't rely on the government for nothing, especially the Labour government. They're the worst. Don't get me started on the Labour government. Yvette Cooper. Saw on the radio station the other day having an interview about, I don't know, with that Nick. What's his name? Nick. I forgot his name. It's Nick something. Got that annoying, like, posh voice. He asked her something like, do you think the Labour government now are literally too kind of like late to come back or what? And isn't she kind of like unhappy about the way stuff are? You should see how quick she was to kind of like change subjects and stuff. They're all the same. Snakes in suits. But hey, that's how you go. But yeah, going back into the 7-7, guys. Mad thing is, around that time, I was put in some Leicester jail with tons of them. And I guess was the first one I spotted straight away. Nothing to do with, even though he was a Muslim, which I didn't know, he must have converted when he was in jail, but because he was surrounded by all his jihadi friends. And I called him out, and I was gonna have a tear up with him. Is that can you remember that Filipino / Italian son of an immigrant or immigrant himself, Liaco Chindamo, murdering scumbag who killed that teacher in London? A gang of them. I met him. Our paths did cross, and I couldn't stand him. And I made my point known about him, his religion, and everything. And if it wasn't for the screws, we would have gone head to head. He's lucky the screws were there, that's all I can say. But yeah, you should see him in the Leicester jail. I forgot the name of it. I think it was called Stockholm or something like that. So many of them in there. All these, like, I'm sure either one or two of them went on to do the 7-7. I think it was one of them. And my thing is to talk to the person. He seemed a bit like cagey and a bit on edge, but you could see he was like very anti-British and very anti-establishment and stuff. He was just wrong on in the end. Like they tend to like end up being in the end. But I knew he was just, you could tell them with their long hair, their beards. Obviously not all, but when you're in Nick, especially in England, and you see them all go surrounding this one guy, then it makes you think, like, what's he going to end up doing? And I just knew all along. There's something about him. And as for that murderer, Liaco, I heard he went back, he made out that he was, I've changed, I've turned over a new leaf. He's been back in jail a couple of times. Robbery and everything. Carrying weapons and stuff. It's all out there on the Sun newspaper and stuff. But anyway, yeah, going back to what I was saying. So yeah, my point is, the English jail is full of them. And if you honestly think that 7-7, you know, 7-7 is going to be the only one that they're going to do, you've got another thing coming. We got more of it to come, unfortunately. But my point is, if they don't like us, and they don't like our way of life, and they don't like the Union Jack, they don't like the St George's Cross, the flag, they don't like the Welsh flag, they don't like none of that, our traditions and everything else. Do you know where the airports are? You know, why come here? Why sponge of us? Why leech of us? Why are you going to just jog on? You know what I mean? How hypocritical can they get? How hypocritical are they to think that we don't notice these things? And then have the nerve then not to assimilate, you know, not that I would want to anyway, but mental. 20 years ago. Fucking hell. I should go on a website. I'll have to leave the link in the description to all the atrocities. These
I hear the train a-comin'.
perps, should we call them,
It's rolling around the bend.
have committed since
And I
7/7.
ain't seen the
And they
sunshine.
still going to commit all around the world, and the mainstream media does nothing at all to fucking cover it, to publish it, to expose it. And the mad thing is, the same thing happened with Trump the other day with the old whites getting butchered out in South Africa. If it wasn't for Trump, do you want to say any? And the mad thing, Trump, I do notice that as soon as Trump broadcast it out there, do you see anybody else picking it up? Not all I saw was the BBC kind of dissecting the truth to suit their own agendas by masquerading it all as like as one-sided and making out Trump was lying and wow. Anyway, sun's going in now. Looks like I've got a tan on one side of my cheek. But yeah, 7/7 will never be forgotten. Condolences to all. And let's hope it never happens again, but I honestly think it's just the start. Peace out.